This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Luke Sylvia and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is July 14th, 2022. My name is Jonathan Osborne. I'm here with my co-host. We're wearing the same t-shirt, Luke Sylvia. Luke, what's going on, bro?
I just want you guys to know, Jonathan was like getting his bearings before hitting record, and he says it's 7/14th. And that really cracked me up for some reason. Yeah.
My bad.
And so you were laughing, and we were laughing a little bit before. Anyway, I got on. I don't even think I knew Jonathan had the shirt that I'm wearing. And then producer Kevin was like, hey, why don't you just turn around backwards? So I said, don't have to tell me twice. So if you guys are watching on YouTube, you get it in all its glory. Number one dad. And then Jonathan's wearing the front of it with the Magic logo. Yeah. So we're off
got this shirt a few Father's Days ago. And I don't wear it like usually out in public, so I just find
I wore it to a literal Magic game.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. I mean, that's good on you.
My clothing was limited. I was just in Florida longer than expected, and it was for Markelle Fultz's return.
Respectfully,
so.
I would not wear it in public, but it's a nice gift from my kids, and I wear it on here because you can't see the number one dad. And then like Luke got on here, like, oh, we're wearing the same shirt. So yeah. Pretty hilarious. So we've got a bunch of stuff to go over. Obviously Paolo has been shut down for Summer League. Caleb Houstan signed to the Magic. Some other stuff came out. Obviously the game Monday versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, which we can talk about as well. Before we do that, obviously just our weekly housekeeping stuff. We've got an open position here at the Sixth Man Show. We're looking for a social video producer, someone really to just help us increase our social media reach, help us put clips together and upload YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, all that kind of stuff. The TikTok. So if you guys are interested in that, hit us up at sixthmanshowpc@gmail.com. Again, that's sixthmanshowpc@gmail.com. We're starting to set up interviews and everything like that. So if you're interested in joining the team, hit us up. And then really quickly, we're going to shout out our Hall of Fame tier patrons. We shout them out every single week. They help financially support the show. If you are interested in helping financially support the show so we can continue to do the things that we do, you can find us at patreon.com/The Sixth Man Show. And now we are going to shout out those Hall of Fame tier patrons. Shout out Court Cousins, Armin, Carson Tulo, Jonathan Borges, Magic Player History, Wiffle, Ryan Singh, The Distract, Pierre A., Dylan Holden, Mr. Mikey, Lil Penny, Drum, Danimal, Dutto 15, Bobby Skinner, Nate Donley, and Gotti 93. Thank you guys so much for your support. Luke, some fun Orlando Magic news this week. We talk about how we don't really get enough national coverage and national attention, but we're starting to get some of that. It's really starting to come in like podcast form. 3 pretty popular podcasts: No Chill with Gilbert Arenas, Road Trippin' with RJ, Richard Jefferson, and Channing Frye, and All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. So this really the last couple of days, RJ Hampton recorded with Gilbert Arenas for the No Chill with Gilbert Arenas podcast. Jonathan Isaac and Gary Harris recorded an episode of Road Trippin' with Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson. Shout out Blue Wire Network. That episode was filmed at the WinBet Studio in Las Vegas, so that's pretty exciting. Those guys are doing stuff with the Blue Wire fam. And then All the Smoke, Paolo Banchero was on with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. So really looking forward to all of those. Luke, which of those is your favorite?
Like which podcast?
Yeah.
So I have, even though I don't listen to it as much anymore, Road Trippin' was absolutely my favorite back when they were in Cleveland, when RJ and Channing were in Cleveland. So I'm very partial to that one. That's the one that I've honestly listened to the most. I love that show. Not just saying that, but yeah. So I definitely that one. I give a lean to that one. Is there one of those that you like most?
I would say each of them brings something different. Like,
Yeah.
I think the chemistry and just the back and forth banter of road tripping is the best.
Yeah.
All the smoke usually gets like the best stories from guys. Like, you get a lot of like cool Kobe stories on there. Obviously, you know, Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson were really colorful players, you know, back in their day. And then Gilbert Arenas is, you just never know what that dude is going to say. So I think all of them bring something different. Out of those three, I'm looking for, what did you just say?
You said you never know what Gilbert Arenas is going to say, and I said, or do.
That's a fact, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I was like, did he just diss me? I couldn't tell if I said something I wasn't supposed to.
We haven't reached that part of the program.
We'll get there. Yeah, exactly. I think I'm most excited for all the smoke with Paolo, though. Like, we just want to hear more from the rookie.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure. But I am interested as far as Gary Harris goes, you know, being on road trip, and I'm hoping he talks about just why he re-signed in Orlando, what went into that, and just getting like genuine answers from him. I've wanted that perspective for, you know, since he did sign, essentially. So hoping he gives us a good interview.
We tried to get that interview for obvious reasons. It didn't work out with us getting Gary Harris on the show, but yeah, definitely
we wanted them to have
hearing
him. You know, we were just like, y'all take him, I guess. You know,
like fellow Blue Wire podcast, you know, you guys definitely need
they owe us
exposure. You know, so yeah, you know, those guys owe us one. I'm also looking forward to hearing from J.I. It's been a while since we've heard him, like it really in like that casual of a setting. I think I'll be interested to see if Channing and RJ can kind of drag out some more details around the injury and the rehab.
Yeah, that would be.
Because the cool thing about these players and, you know, the quote unquote the new media doing these podcasts is these guys are definitely more comfortable and open up a lot more on those types of podcasts than maybe they would like with us.
Yeah, they're one of them.
Yeah. You know, hey, did you pay any attention to Richard Jefferson refereeing the Summer League game the other night?
So I didn't watch it live because that was late as freak at like 11 p.m. or something. So
late
I did not.
Late as freak, 25 years old, 11 o'clock, late as freak.
Yeah. For sure, yeah. And so I watched the next day. I was intentional about finding, you know, the interview on YouTube, the highlights, if you will, or lowlights from him refereeing. He's just a funny dude. Like, he is just entertainment all the time. And so I appreciated it. I think it was really cool for him to do that. He didn't need to do that by any means. And so the fact that he did it, put himself out there, he put himself in situations that can make him feel really dumb. You know, those refs that he spent all those years heckling and giving a hard time for foul calls, getting to be one of them, said that he's going to do it next offseason or next summer league as well. So interested to see if there's if he does do that and see kind of the content they can get from it again, because they really pushed it. They milked it. And you needed to for an 11 p.m. summer league game that really didn't have too much incentive to watch otherwise.
Right. No, it was a lot of fun. The funniest thing to me was you could tell he's sitting in the stands with Monty McCutcheon before he went down to ref the game, and he did just the second quarter. You could tell how nervous he was, and for a guy who is usually pretty cool, it was funny to see that he was definitely nervous. And he talked about just like how fast the game moves, and he said his head was still spinning after he was done with that.
Yeah, and they had that one play, Jonathan, where he did not put his hand up for the three. He repositioned himself accurately, you know, as a ref can, and that's the best I can really explain because I'm not a ref. But he repositioned. They applauded him for like repositioning himself, but then he forgot to put the arm up for the three-pointer, and he talked about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I missed it for sure." But it was fun to see him be in a position. He's already like easy to make fun of, you know. He just puts himself out there though, and that's kind of like his thing. He's on TikTok a lot. People roasting him for being bald, just things like that. So he's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, but it's a good thing when you can dish it and you can take it. I always appreciate that, and he can definitely do both. In other Magic news, so this is something that we really talked about on our last podcast. So we recorded Sunday night. Literally, we finished recording about an hour later. News breaks that the Orlando Magic were signing Caleb Houstan to a deal. So today, the actual details of that contract came out. But Caleb Houstan signed a 4-year, $8.2 million contract with the Orlando Magic, $4 million guaranteed. So $2 million this season and in the 2023-2024 season. The 2024-2025 season is $2 million. It's non-guaranteed. And then the 2025-2026 season, there is a team option that is not guaranteed. So really excited for Caleb Houstan. I think a lot of Magic fans were excited what they saw out of Caleb Houstan the first few Summer League games. Didn't have a really hot showing Monday night. We'll talk about the Oklahoma City game. But I think he definitely showed enough. And just some of the things that we talked about. He's a tall guy, moves well without the ball. He's a solid defender, 6'8", moves well without the basketball, good basketball IQ, high character, all of the things that this front office likes.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to see that he got that contract. We've been talking. It's been kind of a topic that we've covered quite a bit here in the last couple episodes. I'm interested to see what's next. Okay, you signed the guy that you clearly wanted. You gave him 4 years, and you did it after a Summer League game when he really, didn't produce. So clearly they already had an idea. We know this, though, Jonathan. I said this the other week. They are not shy about how much they don't care for second-round picks in general. So the fact they used it on Caleb Houstan, I am not really shocked at all that he got to sign it for that long with that amount of money. It's good money for a 32nd overall pick. So good for Caleb. I think he earned it. I think he's going to be a solid contributor for this team. I'm interested to see what happens.
The most interesting thing to me is that it's $4 million guaranteed, which tells me they don't plan on sending this guy to Lakeland. I feel like this means the kid is going to be on the roster, which is interesting now because now you have 16 guys on the roster, including guys like Bull, Devin Kennedy, who we don't know if either of those guys are going to be on the roster to start the season. Terrence Ross, obviously everyone knows it's not a secret. Last couple of months, Terrence Ross has been open about talking about, that he would like to move on from the Orlando Magic and, go to a more competitive situation. So now the Magic are really faced with a difficult decision. By the week before, I think it is the week before the regular season starts, the Magic's roster needs to be down to 15 guys. I think you can carry up to 20 guys throughout training camp, but the week before the season starts, you need to trim it down to 15. Do they waive somebody? You can waive Devin Kennedy. You can waive Bull. You can trade Terrence Ross for either cash considerations, which to me would be a disaster, or a couple of second-round picks, just to kind of open up that roster spot. They signed Devin Kennedy to the 2-year deal. He's making 1.7 this year, 1.9 million next year. Neither of those are fully guaranteed. So technically they could waive Devin Kennedy. I know there's been some questions. I've seen this from Magic fans about whether or not the Magic could just convert Devin Kennedy's contract to a two-way. They actually can't. You can convert a two-way contract to an actual contract, but if you're looking to move a guy from the roster to a two-way deal, you need to waive him. He needs to clear waivers, and then after the fact, then they could sign him to a two-way deal. What do you think is the most likely scenario? To me, what they're really looking at is either trading Terrence for picks or cash, or waiving Devin Kennedy.
I think I'm going to say that they end up waiving Kennedy. I just don't know. I'm not going to be surprised at either outcome. So, take it with whatever you want there. But I don't know. T. Ross is still on the roster. Maybe they move him before, deadline. And that's what I'm leaning toward. I just think that it might, if they don't find, because we say this every time, front office is not going to make a trade that they don't want to, that they feel like they're getting, fleeced doing, during that trade. They're not going to just get rid of him. They know Weltman has talked about T. Ross being just a stand-up guy, a good veteran to have, genuinely likes the franchise and doesn't mind being there. Obviously, he has voiced his opinion about, that he's probably going to move on. At least it feels inevitable at this point. But I don't think the Magic have a hard time holding on to him until they can get what they want or until the last second, and to where they're like, okay, we've done everything we can. At this point, we trade him for basically nothing. I wouldn't be surprised. And so, that being said, I do think that Kennedy being waived is probably more likely.
I think I would say Devin being waived, but I'm 60-40. 60%
close.
Devin getting waived, 40 Terrence getting traded. Terrence talked on his Twitch channel. We actually went in there as doing our little sleuth skills to try to see if he had kind of switched up about his wanting to leave Orlando, because he did he did another podcast and he definitely wanted to leave, was ready to move on. Then he did the podcast where they had Devin Kennedy on, and he was talking like he was super excited about the future of the team. So we went into his Twitch chat and we were like, hey, have you changed your feelings about leaving the Magic? And he basically went talked for 4.5 minutes about how important it is in the NBA to be a good guy in the locker room, to be liked in the organization. He's like, that's how you stay in the NBA for a long time. You work hard, and if you're a good player and you're a good person, he's like, you don't want to piss people off. You just want to be a good guy. So I don't see him all of a sudden now becoming this locker room cancer, even if his preference would be to be moved before the season starts. I could see the front office being like, hey, we're going to move you to a contender, but there's a good possibility it's not going to be until the trade deadline, because if you're going to trade Terrence Ross for, let's say, 2 second-round picks to a contender whose second-round picks probably aren't going to be that good, if you're going to make that deal is going to be there at the trade deadline. So if you just want to hold on to Ross as long as you possibly can, I'm fine with that. I mean, it's only Summer League. We don't want to overreact to Summer League, but Devin Kennedy is a fringe NBA player. I don't think it's disrespectful to say that. He's a very good shooter. He's a good locker room guy, but I don't really know how much value he brings you elsewhere. He's not a guy that is really going to facilitate the offense. He gives good effort on the defensive end, but just due to his size, and his athletic ability, he's always going to be somewhat limited there. I don't think you lose a lot by waiving Devin Kennedy. I know there are a lot of Devin Kennedy fans out there. I like Devin Kennedy. People are going to be mad about me saying that, but I don't feel like you lose that much if you waive Devin Kennedy. And they've proven that they're investing into Caleb Houstan with the $4 million guaranteed.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. And talking about, Terrence Ross, he's 31, 32. This is the last year of his deal coming up here at $11 million. And like he said, the way you stick around in this league, being a good locker room guy, just being an all around, good teammate goes a long way. And I think that he doesn't want to burn any bridges. He doesn't want to become a guy in the locker room. That's the most detrimental thing he could do, is become a cancer in the locker room at this point, because he's getting older. He seemingly regressed in the last couple of years, right, from what we knew. Granted, you can debate till you're blue in the face about why that is. Regardless, numbers speak for themselves, and that is what it is. So I just think that T. Ross is also doing what he can do to continue staying in the league, obviously, but maybe getting more than just a vet, minimum contract, right? So just trying to keep his value up, all those sorts of things. And I think that that's kind of what he's just going to continue to do. So, and yeah, I agree with all your points about Kennedy. There's nothing really for me to add there either.
So let's talk a little bit, just a minute, about Caleb. I don't want to turn this into a whole thing, but I first of all, he looks like he has the potential to be one of the better second round picks that we've had here in a while. The last second round pick that we had that really turned into a rotation guy was Wes Iwundu. He was in certain stretches was a big part of that 2018-2019 run that the Magic made to the playoffs. But I believe Wes is out of the league at this point, so I'm pretty comfortable right now in saying that I think Caleb Houstan projects to be a better player than Wes Iwundu. I think we would all agree that most of this roster projects to be better than that 2018-2019 roster, and that's why we're really excited about what we have going on right now. But I don't know that we see Caleb a ton next season, just because of the amount of depth that we have, especially on the wings. With Franz Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, if he's healthy, Chuma Okeke, Paolo, RJ Hampton. But I do like the idea of him just being on the team and developing over the next couple of years here, because we said, he has shown plenty of flashes in summer league that he just knows what to do on an NBA floor. And a lot of the times with these second round picks, if you want to stay on the roster, that's 90% of it, is just knowing what to do when you're on the floor and knowing your role.
Yeah. And just to add, Wes One Dude played 14 games for the Canton Charge in the G League last year, averaging 8 points a game. So, but to your point about Caleb Houstan, he's young. He's the draft pick, right? Like, it all goes back to they don't waste second-round draft picks. So it makes sense. And I believe that, if they think it's in their best interest to keep him on board, why not?
You don't think not using second-round picks is not the same as wasting? Some people would argue it's wasting second-round picks by just not using them.
Yeah, maybe. It's philosophy, at the end of the day.
Philosophy.
But it's
we're
still
philosophizing.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a word.
It's not. I heard it in a movie once. I thought it was funny, and apparently you didn't get the reference. I don't remember.
I'm sure
what the
you got lots
to,
of chuckles across everyone listening to this.
Yeah,
so
maybe
it's
not.
all right.
Maybe not.
It's all right.
Anyways. All right, enough about Caleb Houstan. We're super excited about him. Like we referenced at the beginning of the podcast, basically Monday night before the tip-off, OKC versus the Orlando Magic in Summer League, like an hour, maybe 2 hours. Like
about
I think
an
it was
hour,
like
a little
6,
over an hour.
Something like that.
It was dirty, is what it was.
It was not cool. I think it was actually a couple. I want to say it was like 6:30 because I'm pretty sure it just like ruined my entire night at that point. But Paolo was shut down, ruled out for the rest of Summer League. We've gotten some conflicting reports. If it's an ankle, if it's a cut toe, it doesn't really matter. It's not a major injury. If he had to play in an important regular season game right now, he would be able to do that. But essentially, the Magic saw everything that they needed to see out of Paolo Banchero, decided to shut him down for the rest of Summer League. Paolo says he wanted to play, but wasn't really going to push back to the organization. It's like, you've been at your new job just a couple of weeks. Like, you're not looking to take a ton of PTO, if you know what I'm saying. So, Paolo shut down for Summer League. It sucks, but I do think we saw everything that we need to see from him, even though we want to see a lot more.
Did you see the look, the expression he was giving, or the lack of expression? I understand. So right at the beginning of the game, right, they're talking, essentially huddling on the sideline, either before the game started or maybe during a timeout.
It was right before the game started.
Right before the game started. He was up there, and I was talking to Lauren, and I've been telling Lauren just for the past hour and a half how irritated I was that he wasn't playing, but that I understood. And I was like, look at him. He looks so sad. He looks like a sad puppy dog.
He wanted to play.
And he wanted to play. And Lauren was like, that might just be his face. And I was like, possible. It is very possible. Paolo has just that face where it looks that way all the time. But I could see in there. I think I saw a tear start to come out, but
I don't know about that, but I do agree. I felt like he looked like he was standing on the sidelines, and he looked like he was frustrated and wanted to be out there. I mean, the kid hasn't played a ton of basketball since the beginning of April, and then gets a few Summer League practices. Maybe he's still practicing with the team. I don't really know. We know that he's obviously not playing in the games.
Right.
But what was just so disappointing to me is it was the 1 versus 2 matchup in Summer League. We saw him versus 3, Jabari Smith. We saw him versus 4, Keegan Murray. But this is where, especially with all the hubbaloo that's going on, Magic Twitter and
love that.
Hubbaloo and
Hullabaloo,
otherwise.
but good one.
Whatever. Who cares? I'm pretty sure that's a made-up word anyways.
Sure.
The hullabaloo about Chet Holmgren. It was like, okay, now we get to see Paolo Banchero snap him like a breadstick.
Oh.
And we didn't get to see that. So, it's like theoretically, I don't mean figuratively speaking. Thank you so much. You're my Webster's dictionary tonight, I guess.
Love that.
But yeah, he didn't get to play against Chet Holmgren. We'll have to wait until the regular season to see that. But any kind of argument that he's like ducking Chet Holmgren is just silly in my opinion. I don't think the kid's afraid of anybody.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Like I said on the last pod, anyone who suggests that, shut your mouth when you're talking to me. But other than that, does it make you more excited for the regular season matchup of Chet versus Paolo? Like, just that we didn't get to see it in Summer League at all.
Yeah.
And so, you get to circle that. I think I might honestly be looking forward to that more than I will a, Paolo Jabari type of matchup now, just because we saw it. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that it's going to go exactly the same as it went. I would expect Jabari to be, a little bit more productive there, a little bit more, into his game, but could say the same for Paolo. I don't know.
I'm sure the NBA schedule is like 99.99% done.
Yeah.
But if I'm the league, I'm making OKC in Orlando opening night.
Opening night on ESPN.
On ESPN.
Actually, no,
or
no,
TNT,
no.
whatever
NBA
you want.
TNT. I need it on inside the NBA.
Yeah, that would be. We're gonna get probably, I would say, at least one game on TNT this year. I can't wait to see Charles and Kenny, Ernie, Shaq talk about the Magic.
Yeah.
Even though we're gonna be watching it, be like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. They're like, oh yeah, that Chuma Okeke, he can't really shoot the three, and he's not a great defender, but like they're gonna say stupid stuff like that, like they always do. Yeah. And we're gonna be angrily like tweeting about it, but Chuma Okeke, I think, is a good 3-point shooter and is a good 3-point, and a good defender. Just for the record, before we get comments on YouTube.
Right. Yeah. Part of the joke. Yeah, I can't wait to see Shaq make a joke about he doesn't know half the people on our roster. Those jokes.
I can't wait for him to be like, we still run this franchise, but yeah, me and 3D
right now
about to buy the team. Which, yeah, that's never going to happen. A little bit more about Paolo. So, part of when these guys sign and after the draft, they do a bunch of media stuff with the Magic, stuff that they'll play at games, they release on social media. They asked Paolo for his all-time Orlando Magic starting five. He went with Penny Hardaway, obviously. Tracy McGrady, obviously. He threw Dwight Howard in there. I'm assuming that Dwight's going to be at the 4. He threw Shaq in there at the 5. And then this one was a little bit controversial, but to me, it's really not that big of a deal. He threw Grant Hill in there. Obviously, there's like the Duke connection there. I think Grant Hill, he was talking somewhere. I don't think he's actually met Paolo, if I'm not mistaken. But obviously, the Duke connection is there. But some people are like, oh, it's got to be Richard. It's got to be Hito. It's got to be Nick Anderson. Like, people forget that in 2004, 2005, Grant Hill, after he came back from the ankle injury in 67 games, averaged 19 points per game, 50% from the floor, 4.7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.4 steals. Was an all-star that year. So if we're talking about 04-05 Grant Hill, you could arguably put that up there with any Richard or Hito Turkoglu season that they had in Orlando. Like I would probably go Richard, just because I think Richard's peak in Orlando was just like a little bit higher, was part of a more successful team, gives the team a little bit more spacing and shooting. I would probably go Richard, but I totally get why you would go Grant Hill.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. I really think that the lineup was good. It is kind of a no-brainer, especially if you're just okay with Dwight playing the 4.
That team is winning 10 titles in a row, by the way. So it's kind of hard to argue.
In a row, exactly. But I am subbing Grant Hill out, and I'm putting Richard Lewis in. Just for the sake of Richard, I have a soft spot for Richard. He was incredible, and can shoot the ball, comparatively. And if you're telling me, you got to throw him out there and you got to win the game, I'm just gonna put Richard out there for sure.
Yeah, and I think for like if the argument was for Hito, we've got way too many ball dominant guys for Hito to be out there. Like Hito's strength was with the ball in his hands. Now he could absolutely spot up, but the magic of Hito Turkoglu was point forward Hito Turkoglu. You've got Penny, you've got T-Mac, you've already got Shaq out there. Like there's only one ball, so
and if you
Richard just kind of spotting up is fine for me.
Yeah, and if you've got Dwight at the 4, you need spacing. So I just think that Richard is a necessity for saying, go win me a basketball game. What's your roster? What's your starting 5? Absolutely, that's it.
But it was a great starting 5. I mean, for the rookie, a guy, something that I always think about, because we're now getting like further and further from like the glory days of this team. Yeah. These rookies that they come in, like, are we ever going to be asking Paolo about like Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott or, Hito Turkoglu, Jameer Nelson? Because think about Paolo. The kid is 19 years old. The Magic were in the finals 13 years ago. So he was 6 years old the last time the Magic were in the finals. Do you think he's seen a lot of Jameer Nelson tape? I'm going to guess no. So I wonder, like, do you go through like a Orlando Magic 101? Like, these are all the guys that you need to know about, and they're going to go home and like coach themselves up. Like, I've got to be 100% real with you. Growing up, like, Tupac wasn't on the radio all the time. If I wanted to listen to Tupac, that's something you had to go back and like coach yourself up on. Mm-hmm. They weren't playing that on like 106 in Park. coming home and watching that after school. Like, there was like a lot of Lil Bow Wow on 106 in Park, like growing up for us. If you want me to go through some of Bow Wow's albums, like the Sierra jaunt, like you, I'll go through bar for bar right now. But certain things that are before your time, you need to go back and coach yourself up on.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, nobody's going to be asking, especially and take it one step further. No one's going to be asking Paolo, what did you think about the impact that Rafer Alston had on that Magic team?
Paolo hasn't been on the 6-man show yet. You never know.
He hasn't, and it's going to come up, So, we'll see. But yeah, that is crazy to think that he was 6, if your math is correct. I'm trusting your math, and I don't know if I should. 2022 to 2009. That's 13 years. Yeah.
He's 19.
Okay.
19 minus 13.
I'm tracking. Okay. That's good. I just want to make sure. I just want to check.
Thank you, Mr. Feeney.
Yeah, Mr. Feeney. Oh, man.
I had to throw that in there. Sorry.
Yeah, of course. But, yeah, so that's crazy to me. That is crazy for sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the matchup, the wonder that was Monday night's game, Oklahoma City versus the Orlando Magic. Can
I be 100% transparent with you?
Please. I mean, you always are.
Okay, great. Halftime of this game, I said, bye. I'm done.
Casual.
This game was awful. This game was terrible. And
second half wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I mean, I wish the second half would have taken place in the first.
Their comeback.
Yeah. If it was any bit close like it was in the second half in that first half, I'd probably stay up and I watch. But it just I couldn't do it. I was mad that Paolo wasn't playing, and I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Magic were down by as much as 18 in this game in the first half. They cut the lead to 9 going into halftime. And then, like, most of the second half was just, like, them kind of, like, chipping away at the lead. They really come all the way back. You're down by 3 with a minute and a half left. Devin Kennedy makes 3 free throws. And then it was just like every time the Magic came down, I think they missed 3 threes to end the game. Just could not get the shot to tie the game to fall. And for an Oklahoma City team, I'm pulling up the box score again here, where Josh Giddey played 26 minutes, Trey Mann played 29 minutes, James Robinson Earl, or is it James or is it Jerome Robinson Earl? Doesn't matter. He doesn't play for the Magic. 23 minutes. Chet Holmgren, 27 minutes in this game. So for like their basically all 5 of those guys are going to be on the Jeremiah. See, it wasn't I knew it wasn't James. Jerome was at least closer. I had the JER in there.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, okay. Plays for the Oklahoma City Thunder. 23 minutes. All of their starters are basically going to be on, plus the Jalen Williams, both of the guys. 7 out of their 10 guys that played in this game are actually going to be on the regular season roster for the Oklahoma City Thunder. On our end, it's probably just going to be Caleb Houstan, maybe Devin Kennedy.
Yeah.
So for them to just not put the game away, they probably don't really care about the result of this game. Like, let's be totally fair. But it was not a great look for a Josh Giddey and Chet Holmgren-led team for the Magic to basically come all the way back.
No, I think they cared a little bit. They care a little bit because they're playing. They're a bunch of sweaty tryhards, keeping their whole roster out there. Ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's like Sam Presti's like, we're gonna win all the games in summer league, and then we're gonna purposely lose all the games in the regular season. Let's get our wins out of the way in July.
Let's get those rings. Because it's going to be a while before we sniff them. So,
yeah. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I'm not looking at the Summer League standings right now, but whether or not there's one more game, and I think it's like the top 2 teams are going to play this weekend for the championship. So I don't even, with the Thunder, I think they lost to the Rockets in Summer League. I don't even think they're going to be eligible. So the Jazz are 2-0, the Knicks are 2-1, Pelicans 2-1. So they have an outside shot. There's like 10 teams that are 2-1. So anyways, we'll see what happens with the Oklahoma City Thunder Summer League team. Frankly, we don't really care. with all due respect to our boys over at the Uncontested, I'm sure they aren't really that invested at this point. I think Giddey is out for the rest of Summer League. Chet's playing tonight. We're recording this Wednesday night, but Chet's probably done after this game in terms of Summer League. So, but Thursday night coming up against the New York Knicks, I don't know if they've shut down like Quentin Grimes, who's been balling out for their Summer League team. But Caleb Houstan, Devin Kennedy, I don't know if we're even going to see those guys for the rest of Summer League at this point. They've played 3 games. Who knows? I think you said 1-1. I think I said 2-0. We're probably going to go 0-2 to finish, or 0-3. I think we'll play one more game this weekend. Depending on where the standings are, we don't know who that's going to be just yet. But yeah, we're getting into the rough part of summer now. Summer League is like super winding down. None of the guys that are going to be playing really have a chance to make the roster at this point. Maybe they might make the Lakeland roster. Who knows? But Summer League for the Magic, especially if Caleb Houstan and Devin Kennedy are shut down, really is like effectively over.
Yeah, cut short from what we thought. So,
yeah.
Unfortunate.
Couple of things before we close out the show here. So if you have not heard already, we were nominated to Orlando Weekly's Best of 22 ballot that they run each year. This year, we have been nominated for Best Local Podcast. So if you guys could go ahead and throw us a vote, that would be huge. You can find it at vote.orlandoweekly.com and go to the local notables category and then find us underneath Best Local Podcast. And then...
one thing. I'm just going to interject here. We'll hold on to Kenny Beecham.
Go right ahead and interrupt me. Right ahead.
Okay, cool. I wanted to just ask you, Jonathan, how your thoughts, what you were thinking about superstar Steph Curry probably going to be inevitably in Orlando Magic because he bought a home in Winter Park. I just wanted to interrupt. I felt that was very important to talk about.
I mean, that is news, although it's not really news, in my opinion. Believe it or not, Orlando is a nice place to live. And there's a lot of famous people that live here. Wanted to have a Florida home, I guess. I mean, Steph Curry is probably under contract for like the next 75 years with the Golden State Warriors.
I put together a trade package for him, by the way.
Yeah, I definitely don't think he's a free agent anytime soon. That's a whole nother conversation. Let's get our takes right now. Are you trading for Donovan Mitchell? I am not.
I think what it boils down to is that I don't want to give up what it takes to get Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is young enough. If you think you're getting Donovan Mitchell without getting rid of either Paolo or Franz Wagner, I think you're mistaken. Out of your mind. And I just think that it wouldn't make sense to be able to to give up those guys, obviously. So, you see what the market's like right now. People are just asking for things left and right. I don't think the Magic are willing to part ways with what it takes. And I don't think I think it just kind of goes against everything that they have been building for the last 2 years. Like, I feel like they do believe in this roster. They brought literally everyone back except Robin Lopez, and they just want to take this year, another year, now that roles are going to probably be a little bit more defined underneath Coach Mosley. They're going to take this year to now evaluate a few pieces, probably for the last time. We're talking about guys maybe like Chuma Okeke, Mo Bamba, RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony. Now that this is going to be a lot of those guys' third or fourth or fifth year with the team, and they're going to be able to make a decision on, okay, who are our pieces long-term moving forward? Even like guys like Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz. I think that applies to really everybody outside of the guys that we've drafted the last 2 years. Add Wendell Carter to that. Right.
So, to me, it just doesn't make sense for the Magic to do that right now, considering what they've done the last couple of years and what they've said in every single media availability since.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Steph Curry, I mean, if he wants to play here, not going to say no, but I just don't see it happening at least anytime soon.
He's a big golf guy, so maybe that's why.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Florida, contrary to popular belief, it's not a terrible place to live.
Yep.
The weather is not bad here. So just like, don't plan on doing anything from like 4:30 to like 5:30 in the afternoon in the summer because it is going to be raining.
You're getting showered on.
Other than that, you're good. Okay, our guy Kenny Beecham King of the Fourth Quarter. You may know him from Twitter and YouTube and all the other awesome basketball content that he does. He's been on like Inside the NBA. He's been all over like NBA content for years now. He released a video on today's Wednesday, so that would have been Tuesday. He's talking about overreacting really to 3 days of Summer League. Says a bunch of great things about Paolo Banchero, which is really fun to hear. He's also wearing an Orlando Tracy McGrady shirt in the video, so shout out to Kenny. But he's doing this kind of thing where he wants to basically collab with a representative, a fan representative from every NBA team. And he's going to be doing like a YouTube series on that. So if you want to go to that video, again, I think it's Kenny for Real. Is the YouTube channel that he's doing that from. Yeah. He's doing it from that YouTube channel. He's got a bunch of YouTube channels, by the way. But it's called Overreacting to 3 Days of Summer League. So some of you have already taken the initiative and kind of gone and commented the Six Man Show and are liking comments that say the Six Man Show. If you've already done that, you guys are amazing. We were like kind of blown away by how many, like if someone was talking about the Magic, like we were mentioned in that. So we're super grateful for that. But if you haven't done that, just go throw a little comment on there. Let Kenny know that you would like to hear us collab with him to talk about the Orlando Magic.
Yeah, would be nice. A little way to spice up the offseason. I think it's a cool concept from Kenny, too, by the way. We didn't really know about it until someone tagged us today. And they're like, hey, would love to see it. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. And then I went to that video just because, like, must be, that most recent one. And I was like, I don't know where he's going to talk about this. And then he talks about it at the very front end, kind of like a housekeeping thing announcement that he's looking to do. So I think it's a cool idea to get a rep from each team, a good way to kind of break up the summer and make it a little more exciting. Really good move. There's a reason he's king of content there on YouTube when it comes to basketball.
And like Taylor Rooks, she tweeted out today that when she's trying to go through and find things to talk about with these guys in the interviews that she does, she goes to the local beat writers, the people that follow the team very closely, because as she said, they know the team best. Yeah. So shout out to Taylor, shout out to Kenny, because he's not going to, on to ESPN and talking about these teams with whoever. He wants to get with the people that really know the team the best. So that's super exciting. If that's an opportunity that comes our way, we would freaking go crazy for that. So, if you'd like to see that, go to, Kenny for Real, his YouTube channel, go to that video and, comment that you'd like to see the Six Man Show. That'd be really exciting. Luke, I think that's going to do it for us this week. We talked about maybe we'd be lucky to get 25 minutes out of this pod. We're now like 40 minutes plus, just like you figured we would be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, But I think that's going to do it for us, guys. For Luke Sylvia, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You have been listening to the Six Man Show. We will catch you guys next time. See ya. Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!